Hello everybody. Today we are going to present you our project named Central Building Medellin. Our group is conformed by Joan Camargo, Diego Sebastián Díaz, Eliana Rodríguez, and Miguel Santiago Parra. Next.
The mayor of Medellin has hired us to make a sustainable building in order to complete with a new strategic urban planning project in the center of Medellin. This new planning project aims to reduce pollution in the city center. According to IDEAM 2016, the center of Medellin is one of the most polluted places in Colombia. Additionally, IDEAM affirms the following. The monitoring station located in the center of Medellin registered the highest rate of air pollution in the country, after the Kennedy sector in Bogota. For this reason, the mayor of Medellin has decided to carry out a strategic urban planning project where the emission of greenhouse gases is minimal, especially in the center of the city. As part of this project, the construction of a self-sustaining building is planned and that is friendly to the environment such that its reduction of greenhouse gases is minimal and that is complies with the tree rating or certification system. Siguiente.
Our project is located in downtown Medellin on San Juan Avenue. The city of Medellin is the capital of Antioquia and is recognized not only for its fairs and festivals, but also for being an innovative city that had as a priority the construction of public transportation infrastructure that makes evident the innovation and other works according to the needs of the population. The building will have a total of 8 floors. The first floor will be used for commercial purpose, and the rest will be residential, consisting of medium and large apartments with an average occupation of 5 or 6 people. The project design and construction is carried out using 3 of building certification systems. These certifications are Green Gloves, LEED, and BREEAM.
Second, selecting a rating or certification system. Green Glove certification. We decided to choose the Green Gloves because it is a new generation of environmental building certification, which is a science-based building rating system. What is mentioned above assures us that the strategies that are being implemented will contribute to caring for the environment and the development of a self-sustained building. On the other hand, Green Glove certification has third-party assessors who interface with project teams and building owners in real time to create powerful partnerships. Thanks to the collaboration of third-party assessors, a better result is expected. Additionally, the Green Glove certification program provides customized guidance in the design, construction, and operation of high-performance interiors and buildings. Another reason why this certification system has been selected is that Green Glove certification process ensures energy conservation, lower water consumption, responsible use of materials, efficient use of project team time. In this way, building certification will verify buildings' sustainable aspects. Finally, the last reason Green Glove certification was chosen was because of the assessment and eligibility requirements are consistent with the type of project to be carried out. Siguiente.
The second system certification is LEED, Leadership, Environmental, and Energy Design. It is a voluntary tier-part building certification program that promotes the design and construction of more efficient, comfortable, and sustainable buildings. It's the most popular in the world, currently used in over 160 countries. To receive LEED certification, building projects satisfy prerequisites and earn points, credits to achieve different levels of certification. Next. Our project is a neighborhood development (ND), which applies to new land development projects or redevelopment projects containing residential uses, non-residential uses, or a mix. Next. What should lead the project accomplish? First, reduce contribution to global climate change, enhance individual human health, protect and restore water resources, protect and enhance biodiversity and ecosystem service, promote sustainable and regenerative material cycles, build a green economy, enhance community quality of life. Next. The categories of leads are integrative process, location and transportation, sustainable sites, water efficiency, energy and atmosphere, materials and resources, environmental quality. This applies on our project. Next.
The third certification system is green, building research establishment environmental assessment method. Uh, there are several reasons why we choose to have a green certification for our project. The first of these is the reliability and security that is available by having the green certification, having more than 1,000 certified buildings around the world. Another reason for choosing green was the extensive experience that the brand has, being the first accredited entire in the world. Since 1990, it has been a leader in environmental certifications in new buildings and projects, as well as in management and restoration and maintenance process. The categories that bring measured are energy, waste, water, materials, land use and ecology, and management.
Project description. Energy item. According to Green Building Initiative 2019 for Green Globe certification, projects must achieve 15% or greater project energy consumption savings through one of the following options. First one, Energy Star. Second one, EUI reduction. Demonstrate the proposed design targets a 15% or greater reduction of energy use intensity compared to the national median energy use intensity. So we decide to choose second option. For this project, option 2 was selected. According to newspaper La República 2019, per capita energy consumption was 1.159 kilowatts per hour during 2018 in Colombia. For this reason, the per capita energy consumption of 985.15 kilowatts hour should be reached, as shown in the next table. To achieve the objective, we want to implement solar panels both on a part of the roof and on the east and west side of the building's facade. Considering that there will always be sun towards these points, according to a study carried out by Mirubi 2016, those homes that have solar panels installed are currently saving 24% of energy per year on average in their electricity bill. What is mentioned above confirms that the electricity savings derived from solar panels can exceed 15% savings in energy consumption, which is what is required by Green Building Initiative. Next. Considering that Medellin is in the Andina region, it has a solar energy potential of 1,550 kilowatts hour square meter per year to 1,750 kilowatts hour square meter year. This means that by installing enough solar panels, the demand of energy consumption could be satisfied. But not only the use of solar panels contributes to energy savings. According to Energy Sage, when you install solar panel, you are also improving the environment and reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Siguiente. The below table converts solar energy production into greenhouse gas offsets using the respective metric converts. In this way, it is shown that solar panels are a good implementation tool to obtain renewable energy, reducing the carbon footprint. There will be a self-sustainable and environmentally friendly building. Siguiente. According to BREEAM, new construction must minimize energy consumption through proper design, thus reducing CO2 emissions. BREEAM not only verifies that energy consumption has been reduced, but that at the same time the emission of greenhouse gases is being reduced, considering that the self-sustainable building planned for the project will obtain a large part of its energy from a renewable source such as the sun. This will guarantee that the emission of greenhouse gases such as CO2 is reduced, thus reducing the carbon footprint. Siguiente. Additionally, the BREEAM certificate requires that there be a measurement and control of energy that the building is consuming. For this reason, and according to an idea that is already being implemented in the most ecological building in Spain, located in Alicante, it has been decided to implement a centralized management system which allows to control energy consumption and cost. In the same way, it has been decided to install wind turbines at the top of the building to obtain renewable energy from a different source. However, strategies have not been established to directly reduce energy consumption demand in the self-sustaining building. Siguiente. For this reason, the implementation of LED bulbs has been established as mandatory in the building. According to, siguiente por favor. According to BBVA, according to BBVA 2019, LEDs should be our choice since they consume around 80% less energy. Their useful life is significantly higher as well as their efficiency. They are less polluting as they do not contain any mercury, and finally, LED bulbs can be powered by solar energy. With implementation of these bulbs in the building, energy demand is being reduced and sustainability is increasing. Siguiente. According to Expo Energía, siguiente.
The construction of a building requires the extraction of materials, renewable and renewable resources that require massive energy use, greenhouse emissions, and other damage such as deforestation, desertification, acidification, and eutrophication. In the design and construction of the mixed-use building, the following strategies will be implemented in order to improve the extraction, use, and disposal of materials. Siguiente. Recycle and reuse. During the demolition of buildings, construction and demolition waste, CDW, is generated, which is often a value resources such as steel, aluminum, stone, concrete, brick, ceramics, and wood. These materials can be identified, separated, and reused. These wastes are a factor in the environmental and landscape deterioration of the region, not strictly speaking because of their composition, but because of their inadequate management by the generators, which affects public space and environment. Among the recycled materials, plastic can be used to make lightweight dividing walls, especially in the residential area of the building. Transportation. With regard to transport, it should be borne in mind that long distance produce more pollution, so it's necessary to obtain resources locally or from areas close to work sites. In Medellin, there are several companies such as Materials del Titán, El Portón de la Construcción, Col Cemento, among others. In addition, there is Greco, which is recognized for the sale of recycled granules transformed into sand, rubble, concrete, among others, allowing their reintegration into the construction process. Use. Destruction of materials must be done under the national regulations established by the Ministry of Environment and the Ministry of Mines. Select no toxic and renewable materials. Disposal. Construction and demolition waste, CDW, must be disposed of in places indicated are regulated for such use. As far as possible, reuse in other projects or even in the same building. Next.
Land use and ecology. This category refers to the land use not only from a functional point of view, but also from an ecological point of view. These categories encourage the sustainable use of the land and the protection of the habitat around it. Furthermore, it places special emphasis on the mitigation, protection, and management of the biodiversity and ecology in the long term. This category has three items. The first one is the site selection. This item evaluates the selection of the site where the project will be carried out and executed. This includes the state of occupation or contamination in which the space is located, and mainly promotes the use of previously occupied spaces which are in a state that facilitates their occupation or use. In our project, a land that was already adapted for construction and planned uses was chosen, which does not represent any intervention that endangers the natural state of the space or affects the biodiversity and ecosystems around. The second item is the ecological value of the site. This criterion refers to the protection of wildlife found in the area to be intervened, as well as the protection of its ecological characteristics. This protection must be present from the moment of preparation of the space until the completion of the construction and execution of the project. For the execution of our project, this criterion is not substantial effect due to the fact that the project execution space is not located in a rural area. And the last factor is long-term impact on biodiversity. This item seeks both the protection of the biodiversity of the area and the minimization of the impacts that the development of the project will bring in long term, prioritizing the conservation of the biodiversity of the area. The green package to be implemented in the project, as well as the gardens in the residence area, will provide a natural environment for different animals as birds.
Project management and integrative process. In the design, planning, and construction of a project, several professions are involved, and each can support and contribute in its own way. Creative ideas focus on sustainable development through the project. The team includes engineers, architects, and designers who can conceive buildings that maximize the use of resources and energy, generate efficiency in materials and equipment, as well as develop practice for the reuse of materials that benefit the government and generative cities such as Medellin, which stands out worldwide for the innovation of its works. Next. It's very important to keep in mind that lighting should be integrated into the architectural and interior design, that is, planning from the beginning and not at a later stage. Firstly, the orientation of the building will be in north-south direction, where the main facade faces south in order to take advantage of daily light in both residential and commercial uses. and thus generates a great influence on the energy and environmental efficiency of the building. The selection of window materials or some doors can focus on materials that allow the passage of natural light. Walls made of lightweight materials such as plastic can also function as acoustic insulators. Next.
Emissions. According to Carlos Duarte 2020, the emissions produced by the different building equipment, such as heating, must be controlled. In this way, it seeks to minimize the ozone depleting potential and global warming potential. First of all, it has been decided not to use equipment such as heating, which consume a lot of energy and generate emissions. Thanks to the green facade, green walls, and the green roof combined with a building design that allows adequate ventilation, the temperature inside the building will be comfortable and heating equipment will not be necessary. With the prohibition of equipment such as heating and the green strategies mentioned before, it will be possible to reduce the ozone depleting potential and global warming potential. The global warming potential is defined as the climate change potential of a chemical substance compared to 1 unit of CO2, the main greenhouse gas. The ozone depleting potential is defined as the ratio between the relative amount of degradation of the ozone layer caused by a specific substance in the relation to the depletion that is calculated due to CFC level reference gas. It has ozone depleting potential equal 1. Siguiente. To refrigerants, we have the following requirement. It is showing in the table, and evaluation criteria compliance is demonstrated as follows. First one, if the building does not use refrigerants, or second one, if the refrigerants used in the facilities have an ozone depleting potential of 0 and a global warming potential less than 5. The building will therefore have the two items of the evaluation criteria mentioned above. Below is siguiente. Here we have a table with the types of refrigerant and their respective global warming potential. If refrigerants are used in our building, the only ones that can be used will be the last 5 in the table, which have a global warming potential score less than 5. Siguiente. NOx emissions. They are polluting gases produced by the combustion of fossil fuels. NOx reacts with heat and sunlight to produce ozone, which can cause serious respiratory problems. We have the following requirements to contamination due to NOx emissions in the table. Siguiente. According to BREEAM, the building must meet the following evaluation criteria. When the manufacturer's data show that the domestic hot water and heating supply systems of each home have dry NOx emissions levels for an excess of O2 of 0% in accordance with the levels computed in the table that is shown. Second one, exemplary level criteria. An extraordinary point can be awarded if the manufacturer's details shows that the installed plant intends to satisfy the heating demand of the buildings. Dwellings has 0 dry NOx emissions for an excess of O2 of 0%. Siguiente.
Transportation. It's not a secret that much of the air pollution comes from mobility, and this is the case of Medellin, since according to IDEAM, the area where the project is located is the one with the most air pollution particles. So it is suggested to take into account the following characteristics of transport to minimize impact. Minimize use. According to the rule in Spanish, Registro Único Nacional de Tránsito, Medellin is the third city with the largest number of cars in Colombia, but is the city with the highest annual growth rate of 5.7%, which indicates that although it's a city that encourages the use of alternative transportation, it's the city where more cars are purchased annually. Taking into account the above, a plan will be planned at the building that encourage the use of the cars to the point of minimizing to a high degree the amount of parking in the building. First, encourage the use of bicycle. Despite having on the highest rates of road insecurity in Latin America, according to IDEAM, Colombia is the country of cyclists, which allows society to take an interest in this type of transport. In a city like Medellin, where large economic contributions are made to road infrastructure, plans can be implemented as an incentive to this type of transportation, not only to reduce the pollution, but also road congestion and the city's vision. The location of the building is in center of Medellin, which currently has bicycle path coverage that can be extended to the streets surrounding the infrastructure, which will benefit residents and visitors to the commercial area. Second, use of collective transportation. As an alternative to the car and in company of the municipal mayor's office, activities can be implemented that will make the subway the main agent of mobility in the city. Layers can be designed where the bike path network connects with buses that reach the subway stations. Third, environmental corridors and pedestrian platforms. A good proposal to not leave the green of the city aside is to return to some great areas, which not only beautify the city but also contribute possibility to the improvement of air quality in the city. The access to the building will be mainly pedestrian or bicycle. To the area no boat, but suitable for the use will be adequate and beautified for safe mobility and enjoyment of the landscape. In conjunction, in conjunction with the mayor's office, it will be proposed to include the city's mobility plan, especially for the central area of Medellin, to put the pedestrian and cyclists as main agents of the routes, all to reduce the use of the car and to give free away to the use of public transportation and bicycle. Next, waste
Okay.
management. According to the APA, United States Environmental Protection Agency, indoor waste management list, the following topics are raised to have a good waste management within a building. First, food waste or food contaminated papers and plastics must be stored safely in covered containers to avoid the presence of flies and other insects. Second, trash can must be properly countermarked to prevent people from confusing their contents. Third, trash can should be away from outside air sources, operable doors and windows, as air carries odors easily. So, taking into account a project of the Autonomous University of Mexico, the following is proposed. Next. First, communication and environmental education. To carry out good waste management within a residential and commercial building, it is of vital importance to have the collaboration of the people who inhabit. Therefore, an environmental education plan is proposed for residents of said building, which includes banners, education videos, and environmental education seminars. Second, prevention and minimization of generation. Within the plan proposed in point 1, tips for reducing pollution materials in home and commercial warehouses and the proper and safe way to dispose of them will be included. Third, separation at the origin. To make effective use of this plan, it must be focused on recycling from the beginning. Therefore, the inhabitants will be required to make selective separation from home. This in order that when waste reaches the storage room, these are already separated by type of garbage, optimizing the time spent on these tasks. 4. Selective collaboration. Hand in hand with the state's entities in charge of waste collection, work will be done on the way in which garbage is collected, so that as much garbage as possible can be recycled. 5. Improvement of the infrastructure. As mentioned at the beginning, the APA recommends adequate infrastructure so that the garbage is the best possible condition, including a stable temperature without access to outside air and or ventilation that helps to eliminate odors. Include clean air ducts and security doors and windows throughout the building. 6. Use of waste. As is known, a large amount of discarded materials can be used in multiple tasks. Therefore, it will be of vital importance that the largest amount of discarded materials is used and reused in order to reduce the environmental impact. 7. Evaluation and monitoring. Finally, it's considered important that it's constantly important to monitor the practices that are carried out. This in order to have control from month to month and thus be able to make decisions about practices that should no longer be done or new practices to implement. Next.
Water management. In the water category, the main aim is to optimize the use of the resource, seeking to guarantee responsible consumption, generate the least amount of loss possible, adopt new use for the water generated within the building, minimize the generation of greywater, with impacts environmental and take advantage of rainwater for a new use within the building. For the collection and distribution of water, the building will have a system of pumps and an auxiliary tank to guarantee 24-hour water service and also guarantee a 24-hour service in case of any damage to the aqueduct according to the Colombian Technical Standard NTC 1500. This category has three items: water consumption, water monitoring, and water leak detection and prevention. The first one, water consumption, implies an intelligent way to consuming the least amount of drinking water possible without generating waste and taking advantage of alternative sources to make use of the resource. The intelligent consumption will be achieved with the implement of sanitary devices that use less drinking water for their operation, as well as with the reuse of greywater. Greywater is defined as wastewater that comes from showers, bathtubs, and sinks which have a low content of fecal matter. Due to the high demand for drinking water in residential and commercial buildings, as well as the high generation of greywater, the implementation of the water generated by the same building in bathrooms and gardens is an ecological viable option. The correct reuse of this water will help significantly in reduce the consumption of their drinking water, since this water can be put into operation for toilet discharges. The second is water monitoring. Another aspect to consider regarding water consumption is its management and control. The building will have mirror on the first floor of the building and clear detailed record of consumption throughout the building, as well as have sub-meter for devices that demand more than 10% of the consumption of the entire building. This seeks to be able to have control of how much water is being consumed, in which appliance it is being consumed, and also to be able to monitor loss or failures in the pipe network. In addition, different protocols will be carried out for emergency or damage cases to ensure efficient repair without compromising service of generating waste. And the last one is water leak detection and prevention. This criteria seeks to carry out a diagnosis in the pipe network capable of detecting water leaks which in traditional way cannot be detected, compromising not only the waste of the resource but also the efficiency of the network. For this, the building will implement registers and controls capable of detecting irregular variations in the direction and the speed of the flow, which may represent some damage, leak, or plugging in the pipes. In the commercial area, flow control devices will be implemented to regulate the demand in different devices as toilets, sinks, and among others. These flow controllers will not only regulate the demand will also act as regulator in the detection of leaks in the system operating in the exclusive network of the commercial area. For residential floors, at the entrance to the chlorine areas and bathrooms, as well as in different sanitary devices, isolation valves will be installed to prevent leaks and in case of repairs to be able to isolate the area to be intervened without compromising water service through the apartment. Thanks for your attention.